We're exploring a really provocative take on traditional publishing and the role agents play. Ouch. Endurance over merit.
It's a waiting game built to favor persistence over originality. This grueling cycle leads to authors becoming stuck chasing approval like junkies needing a fix.
Wow. Trapped chasing external validation. That's a bleak picture.
And what if you actually manage to win this brutal game and get signed? Does it get better?
Let me guess. No.
The source rips into that too with the scathing declaration. Even if you win, you lose.
How so?
It paints a picture of months or years of shopping your manuscript as a glacial process.
We heard that before, the slow timeline.
But here, it adds that any questioning of transparency or timelines immediately marks you as difficult.
So you can't even ask what's going on without being labeled problematic.
Apparently not. It's portrayed as this slow drip of emails, endless waiting. Kind of purgatory for your book.
Okay, so even if you get the agent, the win feels like losing. And what about the actual deal terms?
Right. Looking at the overall landscape, the promised win often translates to, well, absolutely abysmal terms for the author, according to this source. Even worse, potentially. You're looking at royalties around 8–10% on print. Maybe.
Okay.
And for digital, it's often about 25% of the net profit, not the gross.
Ah, the net versus gross distinction. That's huge.
It is. It means after the publisher deducts various expenses, which can significantly lower your actual take. Plus, any advance payments you receive are typically split into thirds over 12–18 months.
So you don't get it all up front.
Rarely.
Right.
And you get no say on your cover design, no control over pricing.
Wow, creative control.
And the final insult, you're still expected to do the majority of your own marketing.
Wait, even with a big publisher and an agent, you still do the marketing?
Largely, yes.
Yeah.
The source asks pointedly, how is that a win?
Yeah, that's a fair question.
You've potentially spent years chasing an agent, another year waiting on a deal, and now you're doing the exact same damn thing indie authors do.
But with a tiny fraction of the profit and zero autonomy, I see the argument.
This leads to what the source considers the ultimate accusation: the psychological warfare of gatekeeping. The source passionately argues that writers are brainwashed. Brainwashed into believing legitimacy, validation, true success. It only comes from being chosen by an agent or securing a traditional book deal.
So it's about perceived legitimacy.
Exactly. It's called a lie, an indoctrination, and a system built on obedience, not originality. We're fed this narrative.
Yeah, the idea of the real writer with the agent and the deal.
Sipping lattes at publishing panels in Manhattan or whatever. So we relentlessly chase that dream, convinced some stranger's approval will validate our voice and talent.
And this source says that's the warfare making writers dependent on that external validation from a broken system.
Precisely. This is a critical accusation. It suggests agents aren't nurturing groundbreaking talent, but acting as market conformists.
How so?
Their core argument is that agents are trained to look for what already sells. They're relentlessly hunting for comps, comparable titles that have already proven successful and current trends.
Looking for the next guaranteed hit, basically.
Seeking out market-ready ideas. Which means, if your story is truly bold, different, risky, maybe genre blending, or just raw and real,
it's too much of a gamble for them.
Exactly. They'll pass, the source argues, not because you're bad, but because you don't fit the pre-cut mold.
Even if readers might actually want that different thing.
Right. The source claims the readers you're desperately trying to reach are starving for something exactly like what you wrote, but the system blocks it.
So what are they, according to this source?
They are bottlenecks human spam filters that exist to say no 99% of the time while masquerading as champions of talent.
Wow. Human spam filters, that's harsh.
It gets harsher. It asserts that agents are just a glorified middleman, gatekeeping a dying traditional publishing system that no longer even works for most writers.
So the argument is the whole system is broken and agents are just propping it up while blocking people.
That's the core assertion, yes.
Yeah.
Why revere a system that actively blocks rather than promotes talent?
Okay.
Stories described as, say, bold, different, risky, genre blending, or just raw and real. Those often get flagged as too much of a gamble.
So they're passed over, not because they're bad necessarily,
but because they don't fit the pre-cut mold. It's about perceived marketability, not always artistic merit, according to this view. It favors the predictable.
But here's where the source points out this really interesting paradox. While the agents are passing on these unique stories because they don't fit the mold,
Yeah.
the readers you're trying to reach They're starving for something exactly like what you wrote.
That's a huge disconnect, isn't it? The audience might be craving exactly what the system is filtering out.
It seems like it. The readers are there, but the traditional path might actually be blocking them from finding those books.
Absolutely. And this is where the source kind of pivots. It argues that authors don't really need an agent, not in the way we've been told. What they actually need is connection. Direct connection.
Connection, not gatekeeping.
Precisely. Shifting the focus from seeking approval to actually finding your audience.
Which leads us neatly into the alternative path proposed in The Critical Insider. They talk about a platform called Strut.
Right. Strut is presented as the antithesis of the traditional querying system. It's designed specifically to foster that direct author-reader link.
How does it work then? What are its core ideas?
Its principles are basically no agents, no queries,
Yeah.
just matching. Simple as that.
No agents, no queries.
Yeah.
Okay.
And it reportedly doesn't care who you know, what you've published, or what awards you've won. Or even, they say, if your manuscript's been queried 75 times or none.
So it strips away all that traditional validation, the credentials.
Exactly. The focus is meant to be purely on the book itself, its ideas, its content, and whether it resonates with a reader. None of the usual gatekeeping filters apply.
Okay, so if you're an author using Strut, what do you provide? If not the manuscript or a query letter?
It's focused on the core of the book and how you present it. They ask things like, what 3 big ideas drive your book?
3 big ideas. Interesting.
Yeah. Also, what's your book about in your own words? And, crucially, what cover and pod blurb do you want readers to see when they find it?
Pod blurb, like a short audio description.
Seems like it, yeah. Something concise for discovery. And the source really emphasizes no uploading your manuscript, no begging for permission, no slush pile. It completely flips the script on submissions.
Okay, so you input the ideas, the description, the visual. How does the platform then connect readers to these books? You mentioned a Strut algorithm.
Right. The Critical Insider gives an example. Let's say a reader is interested in, I don't know, time travel to another universe, maybe moral ambiguity in the face of danger, and father-son betrayal when the choice can lead to success.
Okay, specific themes.
Very specific. And if your book hits one or more of those ideas you provided, the algorithm will apparently show up with scores for each. So the reader sees books that match their specific interests based on the author's own description of the core ideas.
So it's matching based on content resonance, not agent recommendation.
Exactly. And this direct matching, this approach, is framed by the source as giving authors power, independence, and even rebellion. It's about letting the ideas, the story itself, make the connection.
This whole perspective from the Critical Insider is, it's really challenging the status quo. It's urging authors to stop begging, to maybe reframe rejection not as being unpolished or too niche, but perhaps being just too real for a model that was never built for you. That's a defiant message.
It really is. It's telling authors to reclaim their power, their autonomy. The call to action is basically to strut past them, meaning the gatekeepers,
Right.
and let readers find your work the right way, which they define as not through a form letter, but through undeniable resonance.
Undeniable resonance, that's the goal.
That's the goal. And the final, very dramatic call is strangle the system, then build your empire on its ashes. It's advocating for a complete overhaul, a reimagining of how books find readers.
It makes you think, doesn't it? What does this idea, finding undeniable resonance directly with an audience, what could that mean beyond publishing? For music, for film, for any creative field?